Insiders, today we ended up with a 89% win rate, profiting $4,919 total. The first trade of the day happened at 8:30 a.m. off of a negative PPI, US PPI data. It wicked up around 50, 70 points, and we caught it at a not the high. We were a little late to the news. Just wanted to see if it was wick up a little earlier. We targeted this pivot point to start, and just the volatility, we entered a little below and ended up securing around 20 points, 10, 15 points, something around there for a profit of 458. The next account, we traded a little after it wicked up, almost tested the high. We decided to take another short, and we were really in it. We were down at $1,700 up here, and we just held until it wicked down. We wanted it to wick down right here to the 20 EMA, didn't have it, and it just propped up off the negative PPI data. Didn't get it, just did not get it early to start. The NQ 5-minute was way above the 20 EMA as well, and it just decided to, instead of waking down from the bounce up, from the very quick bounce up of 1 minute, it decided to just prop up and consolidate. So we were out there for break even. We were in with 2 contracts short, decided to take one for around $200 profit, then put a 1 stop loss for a negative 200. So a break even trade in total. We ended up with $18 in the account profit, but basically a break even trade. The next trade of the day happened, and we waited for market open. Couple minutes, like 8 minutes after market open, the wick down, we took a long the consensus here was it bouncing off the range, the pivot point, knowing that it could wick down a little lower, tap the 200 SMA, tap the VWAP on the NQ 30-minute chart. It also was pretty it wicked through the NQ 5-minute 20 EMA, and it was a V-shaped recovery, a U pullback. I'm constantly saying V-shaped recovery. It was a U pullback, which is a term I've made up just to go the opposite of a V-shaped recovery. A U pullback from the 8:30 PPI data news. Everything's just coming back to that data, but that was the consensus. Figured it would wick through this low down here, and that's exactly what it did. And we put 1 long, and we profited around 269 on it. Only 1 contract, rode it for like 10, 12, 15 points. The next account is where we blew an account. So we flipped the census, flipped our conviction, and decided to go long. Entered when it rose above this pivot point, tapped the 200 SMA, got a bounce off it, off the NQ 30-minute chart, bounced above the pivot point, figured it would prop up above this range and at least go to the 20 EMA. It did not, just propped lower, bounced up, propped lower. Could have been out with this trade instead of risking the account. We were up like 700, 800, but I had the conviction, and I held my conviction today. Most of you are like, why are you just scalping? Why are you just scalping 10, 30 points? This is mostly why. Today we were more risk on, so I was more just willing to risk the account, and that's exactly what we did. Instead of me scalping 500 and 700 points, which I could have did on this candle, I held. Also, it's very good to point out, I did not have to risk this account. I could have put a stop break even stop on this trade. I could have put. So there's a lot of things you can do in between trades. If you're down 300, if you're down 200, you can flip your bias. If you change your conviction, you can also put a break even stop. Even if your conviction is a little higher, when you're up 500, 700, you can flip. There's a lot of things you can do in a trade, but it didn't bounce where I wanted it to. And we ended up getting wicked out and blowing the account. The 5th account for the day, we traded right after that blown account, longing going into it. And we actually held this trade for a while, around 20 to 30 minutes. And we just averaged in, waited for the conviction. And the full conviction was that 21 EMA. If you were on stream, you know. And it was hesitating so much, consolidating. And if you notice, if we go back, consolidation, just grind down. Very weird, very hard day to trade. A lot of people got blown up today. Legend A lot of people, a lot of viewers got blown up today. A lot of traders did very bad today as well. They lost a lot of accounts, even though they might not admit it. That's why most of them don't live trade. But luckily, we only lost 1 out of 9 accounts traded today. And that is only due to experience, pattern recognition, just slowing down. Even though we were risk on, we still had to trade smart. So we averaged in and just sold out for around $1,338 in this account. The next account we traded a little after. It tapped the 20 EMA, tapped the VWAP, tapped the pivot point, and wicked through it, rejected it a little bit. I had the conviction that it was going to the pre-market low of the day at 22,929. That really never came to fruition. And just a very weird, choppy consolidation just day. Very weird. You had the Trump fear-mongering on Jerome Powell. Just a lot of weird movement. Just hard day to figure out and really get some conviction. But we took the trade off of this big, nice volatility wick up off the VWAP on the NQ 30-minute chart, off the 21 EMA test, and we took it once it reached above the 20 EMA, knowing that it could reject off the NQ 200 SMA. And then it propped up and we sold on the volatility wick up for around 438 in that account. The 7th account we traded today, we waited a while, just big consolidation range. We did not trade. A couple wicks up and down, testing this range, testing through the VWAP 200 SMA pivot point, and we just didn't trade any of this. I had the conviction to trade a short here, did not take it. Instead, this is where the Jerome Powell news dropped that Trump was possibly firing Jerome Powell instead of shorting here. And I didn't know that news was coming out, but it wicked down and we traded the extremes. Very fast wick, so we longed it. And as you can see, we averaged in 5 places and ended up selling. And we ended up making $1,230 in that account. We did risk this account. It ended up coming to fruition, even though it could have flushed that low, could have flushed that pre-market low, which it ended up doing around 4 minutes later. The next account we also traded when it flushed that pre-market low, as I was talking about before. We were having the consensus that it was going to flush that low all throughout today, and it finally ended up happening. The 9th and final account we traded right before we ended stream on this volatility wick down, just extreme low. This is a key level pivot point, very key level pivot point, 22,885. We long with 2 contracts initially, ended up wicking down, wicking to the next pivot point, 22,846. And I believe I only put 1 because this is the stronger pivot point, but this is still a key pivot point. And we longed with a lot of contracts. Ended up making 775 in that trade. Just was a little unsure. This is off the Jerome Powell news still. The White House confirmed it, etc., etc. That's why I would continue to wick down. I was a little unsure if it wanted to come even lower, and just was a little unsure, so just sold when it was a good enough profit. Ended up scalping that. All in all, very solid trading day. You cannot ask for better. 89% win rate. Very, very, very solid, especially for a risk on day. We persevered through resistance, no FOMO, no overtrading, and there are no missed opportunities. Only the next one. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.